So for the intros, I'll let you do like your official intro.
Okay.
I met her because some of our mutual friends posted about this book that they were reading called Front Row. It was about girls that love going to concerts. And so I read the book, and then I emailed her, who's the author.
Oh,
and
no way. What?
Yeah, because we have some mutual friends from concerts. But that's, I think, officially how we met. And then she had me go to her writers group, and she's just been so sweet and supportive since then. And then she's done like a ton since then too. So I'll let you get into it.
Wow. Great.
Okay. Do I just start?
I just start.
Yeah. Okay.
Nothing too official.
All right, I just start. Well, I wanted to kind of let you know first how I got into fashion and how I got into this whole author stylist business and why I thought it was a good idea and everything. So, I grew up in kind of like a typical middle class family. You know, we were comfortable, but we didn't have a lot of extra. So, growing up, my relationship with fashion is, you know, I'd see something I'd want, but it was like expensive and name brand, so my parents would buy me like the off brand. Like, I don't know if you remember the Adidas slide sandals, or like the Adidas jackets, or like the starter jackets. I'd have those, but mine would have like 2 stripes instead of 3.
Yeah. I get that.
Yeah. So that's how I kind of tried to fit in there. And also I'm very tall. So like when I was in like 4th and 5th grade, like that's when stirrup pants were popular and bodysuits. I'm actually wearing a bodysuit today. I managed to fit in one, but they were always a little too short. So like I always had like very stretched out stirrup pants and bodysuits. So I wanted to fit in, I wanted to wear the fashion, but there was always like an extra hurdle. Come on in.
You're good.
We just started.
Good. Wait, and actually, we didn't tell you who we are.
Oh,
so sorry.
Let's do that.
I'm so excited. I'm like, yeah, go. I know.
who she's talking to. Okay.
Well, we know you, Anna. Sorry to totally interrupt you.
No.
I'm totally derailing you. Girls on the computer, do you guys want to just chime in and tell us who you are? I think if you can turn it up.
My name is Zai. I am a life coach.
Right there. Volume button. Oh, yep.
I also do a little bit of crafts on the side, but yeah. Anything else?
And you're new to Wolfpack.
Yes, and I'm new to Wolfpack.
Thanks, girl.
Cool. I'm Kate. I am a registered dietitian and virtual nutrition coach, and I'm 6 feet tall, so I definitely fit in tall girl vibes. Still can't really find bodysuits that I love. So yeah, that's me.
I'll let you know if I find any that are long enough.
It's like really hit or miss, but I still just like, you know what? I just prefer regular shirts.
Yeah, I love it.
My name's Kelly. I am a hairstylist, and I've been doing hair for like 2.5 years, and I've been in Wolfpack for about a year and a half maybe. So yeah.
Time flies.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah. Thanks, girl. I'm Cece. I'm a sales director with Mary Kay, and so I help my friends to, find their best skin and their best easy makeup tips to make their life a little bit easier. And I lead a great team of women as well. So so I get to be a leader in the company, and it's really exciting. And this group was created by our friend named Barbara Babs, and she just really wanted a place for female entrepreneurs to come together and be able to brainstorm and speak and connect. And so it's been really great to see it grow. So she's not here today, but she wishes as well. So gosh, almost 3 years now, I think. I don't even know. Yeah, pretty cool. So we've been going strong. So thank you for being here.
My name is Alex. I am a home mortgage specialist, and I help families build wealth through home ownership. I also have a small blog page on Instagram where I empower moms and women to be more positive about motherhood and the tips and tricks of what our journey has been.
I'm Shannon, and I own a photography studio.
Yeah, you do.
You. Congratulations. So it's exciting. I mean, I've been doing it for a while, but finally took the leap and have a studio now. And but I work with high school seniors and building their confidence and I've just started this role model team, and I have one official role model, and I will make it the best darn year for her.
Yes.
So I'm really excited. So
Cool.
I'm Katie. I'm a web developer. I'm a new mom. So I'm kind of settling into going back to work because I kind of had to take a year off. Circumstances with the child. So yeah, I'm excited. And I've been in Wolfpack a year and a half-ish.
Yeah, and you know me.
I do know.
Stacy invited me to the Wolfpack almost a year ago.
Yeah.
So that was really fun. She came to one of my pop-up shops. She's just so nice. We met through our friend Dawn, who sells Mary Kay also. So always friends of friends. So
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That's how it always happens. You
Yeah.
just introduce yourself and then, yeah.
Good people know good people.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so yes, a group around here. I wouldn't say as a kid I was into fashion, but I do remember one instance or a couple instances from grade school that really shaped how I thought about clothes. I remember one time it was either 7th or 8th grade, some boy asked me, "Didn't you just wear that?" And I didn't know. So that was like kind of traumatizing and damaging. And honestly, this is pathetic. And I don't recommend this. For the next 20 years, I tracked what I wore every day on a calendar until I got married. And then I'm like, well, I guess I don't have to do that anymore. But yeah, so I don't recommend that. That's not a tip for me to give you today.
Married somebody who wears sweatpants all the
I know,
Yeah,
right? Totally.
On repeat.
Yeah, and then in 8th grade, I went to a Lutheran school, and there was a chapel service that recognizes all the graduates, and I don't know if I forgot about it or what, but I came to school in like jean shorts, a t-shirt, and my, of course, knockoff Converse shoes. And everyone else in my class was dressed up, and I just felt so foolish. So I'm like, from now on, I'm going to know what the event calls for, the dress code of the event, the formality of the event before I go. So, in high school, it was all about kind of like dressing to match my friends and my classmates, but I always like to stand out. I remember the one time I got a name brand Adidas shirt, like the ones that look like soccer shirts, kind of like the nylon ones. I couldn't just get a normal one. I got like a bright green one with like blue stripes down the side because that was my favorite color combination. So then in college, it was all about finding like going out shirts and concert shirts. So I had a new outfit for each event because of course there were going to be pictures taken at each event. But it wasn't really until high school or college that I really got, my junior year of college, I really got into fashion because I lived by myself at the time and I watched a lot of TV and mostly like What Not to Wear. Does anyone remember? What Not to Wear was my favorite show. I loved Clinton and Stacy. I like believed everything they said, and like I would love to do that for people someday. I like helping people, pick out clothes and pick out my own clothes and finding appropriate clothes for the body and the occasion, stuff like that. In 2009 was when it was like a big boom of personal style and fashion bloggers, and I followed a bunch of those and really enjoyed finding all the clothes they had, learning about where they shopped, and learning about new trends that way. So in 2012 I started my own blog, and I have to admit I was a total fashion victim. Like, I hope none of you Google that, it was terrible. But I am a person who just likes trying new things, so I like, finding all the new cool stuff. I don't know if you guys know your Enneagram. Does anyone know of the? Okay, so I'm a. Tell me, Katie. What are you talking about?
I forgot it.
You forgot it. Oh. Well, I'm a 7 wing 6, so I love new experiences. Like, I am totally into that. But the wing 6, I have a level anxiety, and I really care about what other people think. So that drives a lot of my, buying choices too, really. So yeah, I had this fashion blog that didn't really go anywhere because first of all, I was a fashion victim, but more importantly, I wasn't a photographer myself, and my husband wasn't either, so my pictures were always garbage. So quality is always a concern. But around that same time is when I heard that Amazon had a self-publishing platform. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've wanted to write a book since I was a kid, and I had one in mind. I had a fantasy book that I have been trying to write since I was 11 years old. So I wasn't ready to write it then, so finally in 2012 or 2013, I started writing Front Row. So that was the first book I published about my concert-going adventures. And then after I had gotten that out of my system, I was finally ready to write my life's work, Flower Anthem. So I did that. That's my kids' fantasy book. It's for ages 8 to 12. And today I have published 7 books, 3 in my kind of concert-going fandom collection series, and 3 in a collection of modern Jane Austen retellings. And then Flower Anthem is my 7th. So as I was an author, I was getting involved in the author community, and I was learning that unfortunately most authors do not make a full-time living off their fiction. I mean, maybe some of you do are side gigs, and you know that you may not live off of what you do right now, but you can grow into it. So while you're growing into it, many authors find side gigs or offer author services. So I was trying to think of what I could do to help other authors and give back to this community who's given so much to me. So at first I was like, okay, I've been a technical editor for 6 years. That's what I do for a living. I'm a technical writer now. I was a technical editor before. I love editing my friends' work. It's just what I do for fun, really. So I was going to offer editing services. I quickly got sick of that idea. People always need more editors, but also the market is so saturated. I wanted to do something different. And I've been thinking of years how I could marry my interest in fashion with the author stuff, the writing stuff. So I was at a writers conference in 2018 in Seattle, Washington. No, it wasn't Seattle. It was near Seattle, Washington. Anyway, it doesn't matter. And there was a talk given by our friend Sarah, actually, about branding and how what you wear can signal to people what you write. And how you can match your books when you present yourself at a conference in order to get more interest and get more business. For example, she writes historical fiction, so she often shows up at events in a plaid shirt. Or sometimes she goes all out. She also does not Civil War reenactments, but around that same period of time. Sometimes she goes all out and wears her whole costume to events, to speaking events. And then if she's at a book fair, someone, maybe a librarian, will see her and be like, hey, do you want to speak at my library or speak at a school? And that's how she gets opportunities. So I really latched onto that idea. I'm like, wait, fashion and books, that's perfect. I can work with this. So then I delved more into branding and how you can match your brand by what you wear, or enhance your brand by what you wear. In 2020, my fiction had kind of died out. I didn't feel like writing anymore because 2020 was rough on everybody. So I decided this is the right time to try to get the author stylist thing off the ground. So in 2021, I went to a writer's conference, and instead of talking about my fiction, I started talking about this new idea I had for this business, and people were really interested. And I got a few beta stylist clients there, and I've been working on it ever since. I have about 6 months of YouTube content talking to authors about branding and how to dress to match their books. I also take a book and create outfits based on that to kind of do content marketing as interest to my business. Cool. So that is kind of where I'm at today. I still have not figured out a pay structure for my business. I'm kind of still in the beta phases to kind of figure out what people need. I'm still figuring out my ideal customer, my audience, because as I've been studying branding, I have realized that, and I've heard that your brand is, if you think of a Venn diagram, it's your interests and your customer's interests, and your brand is that intersection. So I went into the styling business thinking, okay, I'm going to help the authors at a book fair who are really shy and they're just sitting behind their table, kind of like this, dressed in black. You're like, please buy my books, please buy. Like that. Those are the people I want to help. I want to give them confidence, and I want them to have the confidence to feel great, look great, be comfortable with eyes on them, because you need eyes on yourself to sell your products, and get them in front of their table. So far what I've found is the people who are interested in my business already have a pretty good idea of what they're interested in style-wise, but they just need some honing. Like maybe they've had a life change. Like I just worked with a woman who is moving, so she needs to downsize. So we went through her closet and figured out what to get rid of. There was a woman who just lost a ton of weight who I worked with, and she needed an event, or an outfit for an event, but a bunch of her clothes didn't fit. But she knew she was really into steampunk, and she was going to a steampunk convention, so we kind of made an outfit based on that. So I'm still learning who my ideal customer is, and maybe it will be the shy person behind the table, but maybe they just don't know they need me yet. Yeah, so once you figure out your customer, that is the biggest hurdle, but that is when you'll be ready to take off and really figure out what your brand is. Does anyone have like a really good handle on who their ideal customer is right now that can maybe share?
Mine has like shifted with experience,
Oh.
I think. So this June I'll be celebrating 10 years as a beauty consultant, but only 2 years as a leader. So 2 years I've been doing this full time. So my life stages, obviously being in college. Well, in college people were kind of my clientele, and then moving out of that. But then realizing that moms, women that have either one of several, education, home, either married, full-time career. There's one other thing, but sometimes some of these life experiences bode well for my ideal client because they have a little bit more of an expendable income, or at least appreciation for something that's a little bit more of a quality product that they can treat themselves to. Mm-hmm. So it's just been interesting to grow that, and so I almost find that I prefer women that are a little wiser than me because I feel I have a lot to gain from them, but I also feel like they can have a lot to gain from me. So it's this mutual respect. So I'm finding what I like more and who I'd like to really impact rather than just who I think would like my product.
Mm-hmm.
It's I don't know. It's really interesting. I'm not 18 anymore, but
right.
It is cool to learn.
That's very cool. So once you have figured that out, you can kind of look at what your ideal customer wants. Like maybe your customers want anti-aging products now or something like that, right? So, and then marry that with your interests. And then that's the stuff you post about on social media. With authors, it's a lot about the mood you want to express with your books. If you're writing a darker book, maybe you will wear darker colors or use darker filters on social media. Or if you're writing a light and fun and colorful book, like I do, I wear bright colors. My website has bright colors. I try to use bright colors on Instagram, stuff like that.
What is the name of your business?
The Author Stylist. The Author Stylist,
Cool.
Yes, because I wanted to be the first author stylist, and as far as I know, I am. So I'm declaring myself the author stylist until I find out otherwise. That'll just be an author stylist.
What's your website name? The author.
I don't currently have a website. I do have an Instagram, which is the author stylist.
Okay.
Yeah,
sounds good.
yeah.
You've got 10 new followers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah.
All right, so before I kind of get into the clothes part of it, I just wanted to give some definitions, and this one comes from Clinton Kelly from What Not to Wear. He's to define the difference between fashion and style. So fashion is what designers create and sell. Style is your usage and interpretation of what is available to you. And there are three main components, according to Clinton, about what style, what someone who's stylish has. Fit, proportion, and appropriateness. So as I learned in 8th grade, I did not have the appropriateness for my chapel service, even though, you know, my Converse shoes and striped t-shirt were probably very in right now. And they probably fit fine and the proportions are fine. But I was missing the appropriateness, which I would never do again. So, and I also have a couple quotes from Nina Garcia. Any Project Runway fans in the house? Okay, I bought her book too. Style comes from knowing who you are and who you want to be in the world. It does not come from wanting to be somebody else. So in her opinion, the difference between fashion and style is fashion is you are following the rules set out by other people. And style comes from within, basically. Style is personal. There are no rules, there are no seasons. Wear what you like, wear what appeals to you, which is kind of refreshing because fashion is fun, but it's really hard to keep up with because it by definition it changes all the time. So if you can find your own personal style, that's going to free you up to buy things you love and wear things you love and not have to follow the trends if that's not something you want to do. You can be discerning about trends. You don't have to buy the bodysuits if they don't fit you. Or you could try to, you know, yeah, I know. Or you could try to find a tall store and spend probably $20 more on a bodysuit than any normal size person would have to just to get it to fit us. But yeah, I mean, but if you like trends, like maybe if you're in an industry where you would like to be more stylish, like if you're a hairstylist or a makeup artist and people are looking to you for how to look cool, maybe you are free to try the trends and want to experiment with that too. But maybe if you're a financial advisor, you have to look more professional. Do you have a uniform or do you get to wear whatever you want?
Well, so as a mortgage home specialist, especially with the pandemic, it's all very virtual. So
Okay.
I would say like 9.5 times out of 10, I never get to face-to-face meet my clients for two reasons. One, most of them are in Florida.
Okay.
And two, I only attend closings. So for closings, yes, I will wear something a little bit, you know, nicer, like not jeans necessarily. But yeah, I'm usually wearing something like this, but I find it hard as a mom to find clothes that fit now because I want to stay within the trend of like my age group, which seems, it's interesting because they're still shopping at Abercrombie and Fitch, they're shopping at American Eagle, where when I was, you know, 16, 17, like I wanted to shop there, couldn't afford it, but I wanted to shop there so bad.
Right, yeah, same.
I was like,
Yeah.
you want to shop there? And like sometimes I go there and I look at these things and I was like, gives me deja vu. Because you know, there's like a lot of like flare pants and
Oh
like,
yeah,
all
it's
these
all
things.
back.
I was like, do I fit into this or like do I wear? And also, sometimes like I have this conflict in my mind because of like who I'm married to, and I hate to say that, but like who I'm married to, I feel like I have this, like I need to look a certain way, which is not the case, but you know, sometimes like I just feel like who you're married to sometimes could play a part, and I have this like idea of like these women that look so like put together and they look expensive, and like we can't afford that, like I cannot look expensive. I'd love to, but like it's also unrealistic. Like the other day I went to this event that it was like a frozen brunch, okay? It was in Lake Geneva. like for Elsa, you know.
Oh, okay.
Literally.
Like, wait.
And it's like people were coming from Chicago, so you could probably imagine what the Chicago suburbs are wearing.
Yeah.
So it was snowing outside. Mind you, this is where the ice castles are in like Geneva.
Oh, right.
Right next to it. She was wearing this like high heel like pumps and these like jeans that are like super tight and this like blazer with like a, you know, and like a cute ponytail. And I was like you look cute but also a little out of place.
Right.
Just a tiny bit. And like here I am with like my snow boots. I was like, I want to look like that. But that's completely unrealistic.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, oh my gosh.
But not fitting the event.
Right.
But
Not
Yeah.
she looked ridiculous.
Not a style
Totally
brand.
out of place.
She should have.
Maybe. Maybe she
know what she was
other
doing.
group of women wearing all these like fancy things, and I was like, we also students. Do you wear this on a normal basis? Like, I wonder what you wear at home. Like, it felt like a show, you know?
Yeah.
Do you dress up at home too? 'Cause
Interesting.
I certainly don't.
Right. So we know that if we look good, we feel good. I probably don't have to tell you that lady was probably feeling good that day. Who knows? But I wanted to back this up with a little science too, because I don't know if the people I will be talking to in the future will believe me. And I am working on a nonfiction book, so I wanted to back this up with some science. So I read this book called The Psychology of Fashion. And there have been studies done that prove that what you wear not only impacts how you view yourself, but how others view you too. For instance, there was a study done where a group of people had to perform a task, like a puzzle or a mind game or something like that. And some of the people were wearing a doctor's coat or a white jacket. Some of the people were told it was a doctor's coat. Some of the people were told it was a painter's coat. And some of the people just didn't wear the jacket at all. And they found that the people wearing the doctor's coat performed the task higher at a higher level than the other people. Because they were like, okay, well, this makes me smart. I'm wearing a doctor's coat. I feel very fancy and confident right now.
Brain's powerful.
Exactly. And there's also something called the red sneakers effect. And this is referring to a professor that is otherwise wearing professorly clothes, but he's standing out or she's standing out by coming into the classroom with red sneakers. And that person is perceived as having a higher status and more competence because they're dressed appropriately, but they're a little bit non-conforming. This is also the case at like a black tie event where everyone needs to wear tuxes. So everyone's wearing tuxes, but one guy's wearing a red tie. It's like, oh, he knows what's up. I trust that guy. He's wearing a red tie. He looks super fancy. And that is the perception of him. So when you're dressed appropriately, but also stand out, when your audience can connect to something that you are wearing before you even open your mouth, because obviously when you open your mouth, they're going to know what you're talking about. You all know what you're talking about. But first impressions do matter, unfortunately. So if you show up wearing something that is expected of you, but also a little slightly unexpected, you're going to show your expertise, you're going to gain respect, and you're going to look like the competent person you already are.
What does that look like?
What is
I'm trying to think like what would that look like? Can you give us an example of?
Sure. I could give you an example. All right, so you're going to a closing. Maybe you're wearing. Okay. Maybe you are wearing a blazer and jeans or slacks or something like that, but you could wear a brightly colored shirt or something, or a really cool necklace.
Okay.
And then they'd be coming and be like, oh, I really like your necklace. Where did you get that? Sign these 5,000 papers. Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Now I'm thinking about you because you always wear your blue blazer, and I don't know if it's like a Mary Kay thing.
Oh, yeah,
Do you know?
social jacket.
Which just made me think like that makes you connect with that older generation, I feel like more. Now that I think about that.
Yeah.
And then, like
It's just
something
beautiful.
fun under,
Yeah,
and
right.
something fun underneath like your fun earrings or necklace. Huh?
I'm wearing a golf skirt and a men's shirt, so yeah. Pretty unexpected.
Wait, you're wearing a
That could've-
skirt? A golf skirt?
Golf skirt?
I
Yeah,
thought you
it's
were wearing
a
cleats
skirt.
for some reason. I gotta see that. I love your
Oh,
golf
golf.
tennis skirts.
It's gold.
My favorite.
Not cool.
Oh.
That was like, I love that.
I know. I love those kinds of skirts.
I just never followed the rules, so.
That's good though. That means you have a personal style established.
She definitely does. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
You're dismissed, or you can
I know.